Hi all, welcome to Show Studio's video review series. I'm Show Studio fashion editor Georgina Evans, reporting from Milan. I'm here to discuss Fendi Spring Summer 20. Really excited to be discussing the Womenswear collection because the Menswear Spring Summer 20 was just beautiful. The last Womenswear collection we had with Silvia was kind of a farewell to Carl. It was very emotional and very beautiful. And I was very much looking forward to seeing what this Womenswear collection would be like and whether it would be a continuation of last season or starting afresh. And it was indeed starting afresh. The Fendi space is always transformed for each collection, and this season there's a warm orange glow coming from where the models walked out of, and that's a bit of a hint. As you can see, this yellow on the invitation, there's orange behind me, and it was all about this joy and sunshine and pop of colour and freshness, and I feel like I've been saying that quite a lot in these reviews. There was such a positive energy to this collection, despite there being a lot of Fendi brown. I mean that in a good way. So very much a 60s aesthetic, which I think lends the 60s, 70s almost, late 60s, early 70s, which really lends itself to the Fendi brown palette, the beiges and the browns, because they work so well with those textures, that suede, the leathers, which is something that we're used to seeing in Fendi anyway, but when done in those kind of 60s, 70s stylings, just magic. First couple of looks are quilted, so really padded quilted, and in pinks and greens, and remind me a little bit of kind of teens of the 60s and 70s. Really short mini skirts, very beautiful loafers, loafers with a little heel with a Fendi strap over the toe, with little kind of shrunken socks. And generally speaking, that shrunken, kind of a little bit dishevelled, was a styling that ran through the entire collection, and just much to my joy, because to see such a high-end fashion show having these kind of quirks, I think is always infectiously brilliant. So Bella Hadid's hair was too big, kind of buns and really messy, and ponytails are splayed down the side, and it's all just a little bit chaotic, a little bit running for the bus, which I really enjoyed. And again, adds that kind of high energy popness. So beautiful pastel-y quilted, and when I say quilted, that beautiful almost Barber quilt on oversized collared jackets, really long skirts, mini skirts, and then replicated in some bags, and that with the little loafers and socks was really sweet, kind of teen aesthetic. Then later on we're getting some kind of jungly print, and again that print feels like a little bit of a continuation from Menswear, but blown out much bigger, and the usual kind of lattice cutout that we see from Fendi in leathers, which was really successful here. Much later on, some really fantastic 70s, 60s, more 70s I'd say, floral prints, and they almost look like wallpapers or the inside of a VW camper van, and just blown out on large long line waterproof Macs, bags, socks, everything, but done in such a muted, tasteful way. I know I keep saying pop to freshness, but it's those yellows and browns that we associate with Fendi, but done through this lens. That was just so sultry and sexy, but also young. I feel like that duality was really interesting. It almost felt a little bit like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's costumes, if Fendi had done Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was brilliant because you had the slight hippie element, slight florals, slightly more polished with the wide yellow sunglasses, a bit more Bonnie and Clyde with a jumper and a skirt, and a little baker boy style hat. Some of the baker boys actually had bonnet stylings over the front, which was slightly akin to Burberry, which we saw not too long ago. But these again were printed on the inside with that 70s floral. Just felt wonderfully nostalgic, but still really modern, and just so comfortable. Everything was really fantastic. My favourite thing to look at Fendi show is the Fendi baguette, and to see how that's been rendered in keeping with the show's theme. Normally, well, not normally, previous collections it's been nylon or furs or fluffy, in keeping with whatever the theme of the collection was. And this collection, there was the most amazing Fendi baguette, which was beaded, much like a beaded hippie bag you'd get in the 70s, in really beautiful clear with purple, like, what was I trying to say, scalloped trim. Just so fantastic. I can see that being a highly covetable and no doubt highly expensive item. I'm just really impressed with this collection. The cutout that we usually see with Fendi was done really cleverly here, on jackets and fluffy stripes, and it just felt very like you could tap into what kind of character you wanted to be. You could be decadent 70s with a belted fluffy coat and loafers, or you could be kind of teen 70s with a mini skirt and a little jacket. Some of the looks that I wasn't necessarily 100% sold on is the look that Kendall and Bella wore. Loved Bella's jacket. It was kind of a workwear utility jacket, which again feels like a little bit of a continuation from the menswear we saw last season, with an orange trim. But underneath she was wearing a boiler suit, and what's quite common for a Fendi show is to have kind of clear plastic cutouts, or what's quite common for an old kind of Carl Fendi show is that clear cutout. And I thought that had kind of disappeared a little bit, but actually she had a clear plastic pocket on her leg, and I just thought that was it looked a bit at odds. And likewise, Kendall had a clear plastic band across her chest on her jacket on the arms, and then she was wearing a beige jumper underneath. I feel like the clear slightly takes away. I really love it in the accessories. But those two items I felt a bit kind of took me away from the narrative, which I was completely getting lost in. As the models walked down the end, it was so brilliant to see them all lined up like that in a wash of kind of yellows and greens and that really rich Fendi brown. And beiges just looked so rich and 70s and enticing, all the suede long line jackets. It was brilliant, and the music started playing Dawn of the Age of Aquarius, which really cements the late 60s, 70s theme, and it just felt incredibly nostalgic and fresh and modern, but so beautiful. The way these items were executed, I was just so impressed. I think it's one of my favourite Fendi womenswear collections to date, which is quite a bold statement, but it really feels like Silvia's getting in this wonderful rhythm. The menswear was exceptional, and the womenswear, again, this was really exceptional. The attention to detail and the fabrications and the cut in these, the way the garments flow, I'm completely sold. So, in case you can't tell, quite smitten with the Fendi review. I keep clutching this, but it was just really elegant, but young and fun, something that everyone can tap into, but also the quality was just phenomenal. So yes, very much like the Fendi show. Like, comment, subscribe down below, let me know what you thought also, and make sure to visit Show Studio so you can see this fabulous Fendi show alongside my rather gushy review, and we'll see you soon. Bye.